This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
Hey, it's Stu and Emily. We talk on this thing. Hi, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you. I, this week, have had the most depressing week maybe of my life. Figured I'd talk about it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. What's going on?
Well, remember I had the eye thing and I was getting lasers stuck in my eyes and that kind of thing done. Yeah, well, I had that done in the left eye. And now what I have left over is a horizontal line that comes up when I look up anytime, and it's kind of especially prevalent, if I'm watching TV or on a computer, which is pretty much every second of my life. And basically what it means is there's a hole in the top of my eye that they had to put in to relieve pressure. It's like glaucoma, but it's not for glaucoma. It's the same procedure. And now I have this constant distracting horizontal white line because light gets in there when my eyelid doesn't cover it, and it is so distracting and makes me insane. And I thought, I'm not going to kill myself, but could I be one of those people that kills myself? And then I said no. And all the doctors say that, you'll get used to it or it'll go away. And I just think, how could that be? It's a physical thing that's not going to heal. And also, we know how I fixate on things. And it's just been ruining my life. And I was supposed to get the right one done this week and canceled that and went to a second optometrist. And I said, can you take a look and see what you see? And he said, yeah, you have narrow angles, which is why they said to do this. And I get why you were told to do this. He said, I probably would have told you just to wait because the pressure in your eyes is not bad, and we can just keep an eye on it that way. So I'm like, okay, I didn't really have to have this done. They didn't do anything criminal to screw me, but I'm left over with this thing, and I'm having to contemplate going through basically the rest of my life with this in my eye and in my vision, and it sucks. So there's that.
Yeah, that's really terrible. I'm really sorry to hear that. Maybe, hopefully, it will become like your nose. And what I mean by that is, you can see your nose, right?
Right.
But then eventually your brain filters it out.
I talked to like 3 or 4 different doctors, and you said, yeah, your brain doesn't see the floaties in your eyes when you get them because it just adjusts. And I think, okay, I get that point, but also I know I'm me. And like I said, I fixate on things. And I don't want to talk myself out of being okay either. And it's just like, okay, there's that again. Anytime I forget about it for a little while and it flashes up and it sucks. But so that's where I'm at. That and all the troubles of the world,
And it only happens when your eyelid isn't covered?
Yeah, it's basically the laser hole is right at 12 o'clock of my eye. So when you look up a little bit, your eyelid goes up, and that's when the light leaks in and refracts around your eye and creates the problem.
When you say at your eye, do you mean at your iris or?
It's in the cornea, I guess. It's at the top of the cornea, like the upper part. And that's why it shows when you look up, because then your eyelid moves too, and it sucks. And yeah. So I'm dealing with that and trying to not let it distract me and just looking at the world. And before we go into that, how are you this week? Anything to tell?
I'm good. We're preparing for a race on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Election time there.
Not quite.
Or a running race there. That's what I meant. Totally.
We are building a boat made out of cardboard and duct tape.
Boats is what I meant. I was thinking specifically of boats.
The boys are going to race them against other people in the neighborhood in the pool. And so we designed it. We've been going around to the hardware stores, getting boxes for grills and taping them together with duct tape and all sorts. It's been fun.
And at hardware stores here, they don't serve you hot dogs. So there's that. Don't they serve you hot dogs in Australia at hardware stores?
Yeah, at Bunnings, they always have charities that sell hot dogs out the front every weekend. So
it sounds kind of like Pinewood Derby, but with boats. Do you know what Pinewood Derby is? Yeah.
I do. My sons did Scouts. One of my sons won the Pinewood Derby.
Wow. I did Pinewood Derby as a kid. I had a cool yellow car. I tried to make it look like a Lotus Esprit, but it wasn't quite fast enough. And that's a whole cool memory. So
it was fun. My kids still have the little Pinewood Derby trophies in their room.
Only trophy I ever got as a kid, and maybe this says everything about me, was most improved player for Little League. What the fuck is that? That's like nothing. That's like, here, have
nice.
this.
I think it's nice. My sons did swim team. I don't know if you're familiar with that as a concept. It's not really something that we have in Australia, but we have a neighborhood swim team, and so they train every day. They have meets every week. It starts 2 weeks before the end of school, and it goes until this week, culminating in a citywide competition at an actual Olympic swimming facility.
Wow.
And so that's really exciting.
Yeah, that sounds like a big deal.
So that's happening tomorrow. So we're excited for that.
So like summer stuff for you, I'm just kind of hanging out, dealing with stuff, all of it, and then looking at the world. And I just want to say, welcome to war, everybody. There's Iran and Israel. And I don't think for a minute that ceasefire is going to last. And then I wonder, if it does last, what is Trump getting out of it? For sure, he's got some kind of deal with Israel where they're giving him something, or his family something, for getting involved in this. And really, it's just a big distraction because everything else he's done has completely sucked and people are getting pissed off. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, yes, the US is going to war, but Israel has been at war for hundreds of years.
Right. But we're getting involved in it now all of a sudden.
Right. And it's the way we got involved is arguably unconstitutional. It's ridiculous. One of my very, very good friends actually lives in Israel. And so I have the grim opportunity to see through her eyes, what life is like for them. And since October 7th last year, since the hostages were taken, and yes, I know that these are two entirely different things, it has been an absolute siege. They rarely get to sleep through the night. The air alarms are always sounding. They're always going down into these bunkers, the shelters and whatnot. And Iran has been bombing them from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m., like every single day. But arguably, they started it. Israel went and started it. And there are so many people who live in Israel who do not approve of what Netanyahu is doing either. And it is just an absolute shit fight. And I can't believe that we chose to go and get involved in it. It defies logic.
Guaranteed they're giving Trump some kind of Israeli resort or some kind of thing like that. There's something that's been done behind the scenes, some kind of big money thing that we don't know about yet that we're going to find out about someday, because he's not just doing this. He doesn't just do things unless it's of benefit to him and his mafia family.
Yeah, probably been instructed to do it by Putin so that everyone has to buy oil from Russia.
Yeah, because we know what's going on with Russia is not really what's going on with Russia. There's all kinds of things happening there. He gets pissed off at Russia, and it's just bullshit posturing, in my opinion. Oh, I'm mad at Vladimir. Oh, are you? Shut the fuck up. You're putting on a show. It's also fraud. And then I say that like I'm some kind of international expert, and I'm not. I just know that man, and he's a piece of shit liar. So
yeah, it's such a farce. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's only been 6 months into this regime, and it's just every single day, it's just another hopeless, ridiculous piece of bullshit.
Yep.
Like, I don't know who the one cockeyed fuckwit, the 22-year-old who's now in charge of domestic terrorism or whatever, whose biggest claim to fame was he was once the Secretary General of the Model UN at his high school. But that is like the sum total of his fucking political experience, and that fuckwit is in charge of domestic terrorism. Yeah, all right, great. Cool.
I would like to, though, compliment the Trump administration for consistency. They have huge consistency because every single person that has been appointed to a position is completely unqualified for that position and has virtually no training in that position. So at least in that regard, we know what to expect from them.
consistently fucking shit.
And I think a lot of this war, too, that there is now allegedly a ceasefire, and there wasn't, now there is again. It's a big distraction because things here are so screwed up. And that leads me to this topic, and that's violence begets violence. And I say that with a question mark because I really am anti-violent, but there was a post the other day that was so... Talking about ICE, we have these fucking meatheads that are not even legitimate cops being deputized, then they're abducting and beating people in our streets, and they don't even have to show their faces. That is going on, and then you have to wonder at what point violence against them is justified. At what point do you say, you know what, they're hurting people. If we hurt them, that will keep them from hurting people.
I think that that's flawed logic, but I don't agree with the way that ICE is being run. Because it relies on racism to work. And I'm sure everybody already knows this, but ICE has no jurisdiction over American citizens. As an American citizen, you are not required to carry proof of your citizenship.
Didn't used to be anyway.
Still legally, you are not required.
But we can't say legally.
But the reality is that now they will just arrest you and just take you.
Or beat you in the process. And I'm not advocating violence, but I also think it through, and I think if those idiots that were taking these jobs were concerned for their own safety, perhaps there would be way less of them taking the jobs to be Gestapo bounty hunters. You know what I mean? Like if that's a dangerous, terrible job and your people are getting hurt, are you going to take that job?
I mean, it's an interesting question. And then now extrapolate it out to military positions. Already, the Trump administration and what's happening is recruiting numbers are down. Less people are wanting to join the military. So what I'm predicting is that there will be a military draft. So there's not enough people to fuel the war machine. So expect that national service will be implemented. As it is in this country, every man between the ages of 18 and 25 is required to sign up for selective service. Okay? That is the law. And I expect that they will be called to do selective service. And if ICE can't be staffed by people who willingly take the job, they will just staff it through national service. Most other countries in the world have mandatory national service
Israel,
for their
example.
youth.
Yeah.
Right. Israel, the Philippines, Singapore, like most other countries. So there's a lot. And I just expect that if it doesn't matter, they will just force someone to do it.
Yeah, and then things would have to change, but that's not really a concern because things that are unconstitutional are being implemented all the time anyway, and that can just happen. And I understand that violence is not good and you shouldn't think violent thoughts against people, but there are degrees too. Like if you see someone being beaten or killed, of course you're going to go out of your way to help that person if you can. And I would kill somebody that was trying to kill somebody. And I think that's natural and is a good way to think about it. And I also think there is room for an implied thing of, boy, this is a really dangerous job and I'm an idiot that just got out of high school and I'm aggressive and this is the perfect job for me and the requirements to get this job are almost nothing and I would normally take this job, but it's dangerous, so I'm not going to do it. I think if it were more dangerous, there would be less people signing up to be Nazi bounty hunters. Not advocating it, not endorsing it, just recognizing that.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they take it because it is dangerous.
Oh, and they're on the edge and they're going to be shithead, meathead, adventure seekers, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. An ICE job is nowhere near as dangerous as a traffic cop.
You think?
Statistically. So more traffic cops are shot than ICE agents are shot. So just straight math, right? There are still hundreds and thousands of cops, people who willingly sign up to do that job, knowing that it's more dangerous than doing that.
Right.
And so I think in this country that there's always going to be a faction of people who are down for whatever that is. No matter how dangerous it gets, there's always going to be like some group of people who will sign up for it. It might not be enough, and then they'll have to supplement it.
Right.
But there's always going to be a group of people who are
It's just that
way
high
inclined.
testosterone, meathead kind of person you're thinking.
Yeah, or or for other reasons, like whatever their motivation is. But there will always be people for that vocation.
That used to be the person that would go into the military, and maybe you're right. Now that there's ICE, maybe that's like the easier and even better thing. And okay, I'll go get that job because I don't know what to do with my life, and I have lots of angst and hatred. And to me, the same shit person that takes that job is the same shit person that operated the ovens at Auschwitz, just not as extreme, just way less extreme. Oh, we're here following orders. Well, they're shitty, unconstitutional, dehumanizing orders, and whether they're orders or not, you're still doing them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I don't think that everybody who joins the military, though, is like a low IQ meathead.
No, not everybody. I've known a couple good people in the military.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people. A lot of good people also go into these positions because they want to make a difference, because they're unhappy with the way things are. It's similar vein, teachers, for example. None of these jobs pay well. People do these jobs out of service and out of dedication. And so I'm sure there's still a lot of people who are like, I'm going to help fix the machine from the inside. And it must be really demoralizing for them to see what is happening.
Yeah. I worked with a couple of Marines. One of them signed up to do it because he had pride in his country and was going to do the right thing, and then got in and was just like, what the fuck? I can't believe all of this that's going on and these people that I'm dealing with, and it's not me and it's not what I envisioned at all. And he got out when he could.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people join as well for the access to education, because the military pays really well for education. I know a number of doctors, for example, have gone in and had their medical training paid for by the military.
Yeah. That used to be in their ad campaigns, in fact. I don't know if they still are, but they would really put that in their commercial spots, I remember.
Yeah.
So then I look at, things here in LA, and even you can apply this to other states, but really the focus is LA because people are being abducted and beaten. And I thought, how would things go? And again, I'm thinking out loud. I'm not saying this is the way we should go in both these examples I'm giving. But what if the people got pissed off enough, including the gangs of LA? What if the gangs of LA decided to band together to protect their own neighborhoods from the ICE agents? How would that go? Warfare in the streets, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. And then, wow, those ICE agents would be way less likely to keep their jobs as well, I think.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy then. Then what you've just proven is that he's right, that these Hispanic gangs are dangerous and, all of this sort of stuff. It's this silly lose-lose situation. I don't have the solution for it. It's maddening.
Like, how do you choose the right answer? There isn't one.
There isn't one.
Right.
Americans are being locked up and detained. They're being attacked. We're having public officials who are being arrested.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. Judges.
Yeah.
Who are being accused of things that make no sense.
And the frustrating
ridiculous.
part of that is that it happens and you see how fucked up it is when it happens and you look at it and then there is no retribution on the back end for that. Like, that shouldn't be happening to a normal citizen ever, but it really shouldn't be happening to an elected official and people that are trying to do the right thing, looking out for us, yet it is.
Yeah. And there's seemingly not much we can do about it. But this is what people voted for.
I hate those people. I really do hate those people.
It's ridiculous. And it I find it really disheartening as well because the majority of the country voted for it, as in the popular vote. We can't even blame the Electoral College for this fucking bullshit.
I get why you say that. And again, I don't have the facts right in front of me. I would dispute it maybe a tiny bit because I've seen breakdowns that it really wasn't such a big majority. And then there's also the 1% paranoid crazy part of me. I understand crazy and paranoid. I remember sitting there that night watching those election results one by one by one, thinking that's just too perfect. It's too perfect the way that happened. That could not have happened that way. And there's lots of little things that have been brought up, and I don't know that I buy all of it. And also, like the actual facts, I think make it seem like less of a majority. And maybe we'll find in 10 years that we had the need to take our country back from a bullshit scheme. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. The same way that I don't believe he really got shot. I think something happened there.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
I think that was all complete and utter bullshit.
Somebody got shot, somebody got killed, but I don't think that happened.
Yeah. I do think that he did win the popular vote. But there are caveats to that, which are only of the people who voted. And I don't think enough people in this country voted. So many people just expected everyone else to get out there and vote. And then they're surprised. And they say things like, oh, my vote doesn't count. Yeah, it certainly fucking doesn't if you don't go out and put your ballot in the box, you fuckwit. So, I mean, anybody who's listening and who is angry, don't get angry. Get enrolled to vote. Because if you didn't vote and you're unhappy, it's your fault. And that might be harsh, but all of the people who wanted something else but couldn't make the fucking time to go and vote, the 10 minutes out of their day or the 1 day out of their life to go and vote, this is their fault.
And now we're finding out how important this is. The other point I had in thinking about all this and scooping people up is that there is LAPD. They are allegedly here to protect and serve. That is their motto. And I get that there is huge conflict between LAPD and citizens. Some of that is warranted. Some of it is not. LAPD sucks. Maybe they suck because they don't have the resources they need. I don't know, but I experienced it firsthand. And I think, what if the mayor or the governor of the state ordered LAPD, who was there to protect and serve, to go and be out and follow ICE around and interfere with ICE while they are trying to abduct our citizens? Isn't that maybe a way they could go? Yeah, it's going to come to trouble, but protect and serve.
I mean, they definitely could. The jurisdiction is different.
Yeah, depending on the city or where it is. But they could just go and stand between ICE and our citizens. And if that is the definition of their job, okay, we should tell them to do it. And that would be weird at first, but then maybe it would also increase trust between our citizens and LAPD.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
All right, we're going to get the governor on the phone. Let's get that going. Wrap up of all this that I wanted to mention is that Diego Luna, who's the star of that Star Wars Andor show, which is supposed to be pretty good, is guest hosting for Jimmy Kimmel this week. Yeah. And the other night, he gave one of the most inspirational monologues I've ever seen on being an immigrant in this country and how things have gone in the history of immigrants and his family. And I'm going to take a portion of that and I'm going to put it on the end of our show after the outro. It's really poignant and great and heartfelt and wonderful. It's just pretty long, so I'm going to put it right at the end. And as long as we don't get into trouble with copyright and that kind of thing, I'll leave it up there. It's really good and really fantastic. And that guy was so good in that role. I was amazed how good he was with the first night guest hosting. So,
oh, that's amazing. I can't wait to see it. I haven't watched it yet. The thing that is also really upsetting about all of the ICE raids and everything is that it's not just immigrants.
Right.
The vibe is permeating. And it's not just immigrants, it's the removal of any sort of DEI or any of that kind of stuff, which is now creating this insane pendulum swing in organizations, even as far south as I am, against people of color, against women, against everything. People now are going back to just, they know that they can sexually harass you as a woman. They can treat you less than because you have melanin in your skin, because they know that you won't get convicted anymore. It doesn't matter. All of this sort of stuff is, we're going back in time because people aren't afraid of getting in trouble for being horrible people anymore.
We have all these corporations that have begun suckling Donald Trump as of the election. And we talked about Target before we went on the air, and Apple is another one. As much as I love my Apple stuff, boy, that Tim Cook, I call him the Uncle Tom of gays. He sure donated to the Trump inauguration and went to that inauguration and all of that. And all the big corporations are just evil, corrupt, self-interest fuckers, and you'd have to try to avoid them where you can. And nowadays, there's no way to do it all the time, but these days I try not to shop at Target unless I have to.
Yeah, can we just, while we're talking about the military distraction, can we just pause and realize that the Trump administration is making tech billionaires military generals? Have you noticed that too?
I didn't pick up on that, no.
So they are bringing them in as part-time consultants, not even putting them through basic training, but giving them positions in the military, giving them military credentials.
Again, going with his thing of appointing people that are not qualified.
The thing that's also a complete farce is I thought it was the Republicans who wanted to protect all of our personal information, who didn't want the government to have access to all of our data. You've got Elon Musk and the Doge posse responsible for these massive data breaches. All of these things are stacking up. We know that they're surveilling, that the government is surveilling citizens. It's absolutely fucking bonkers. And they're doing all of the things that the Republicans said that they never wanted to happen, and they're just letting it happen. Ironically, I can't wait for like the next fucking headline of the New York Times or something that says NRA ironically forgets to stand up against tyrannical government, because those people are out of their minds. You know, we have the right to bear arms, you know, the militia, all of this type of thing. And yet.
Well, and it's the most cliche thing to say ever, but it really is true. Follow the money. It's, you know, people of both sides are completely willing to just forego any of their values because of the fact that they're going to stand to make tons of money on it. Any gay man that could go and sit next to Donald Trump and pretend like he's a great guy and donate millions of dollars to his cause is just terrible, in my opinion. And
absolutely
yuck. So anyway, we're talking about terrible dipshit people. Let's talk about fun dipshit people. I have some great examples of fun dipshit people, and it might even give us a smile.
Okay, go ahead. What have we got?
Gave a big smile there. There is this guy. Do you think it's wrong if I say that all YouTubers are soulless empty heads?
Yeah, probably
too extreme.
Probably too extreme, because we're big fans of Mr. Beast in our house. We think that he does great charity work. So not all of them, but many of them. I'll give you that.
Well, In-N-Out is suing YouTuber Brian Arnett. Here is stuff that Brian has done. He dresses up as an employee and stands outside the drive-thru, because, you know, at In-N-Out, they take your order standing there at the drive-thru.
Oh, like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, he goes there and takes orders when they're closed on Easter Sunday to piss people off and get people pissed off at the restaurant when they're not even there. He's saying to customers dressed as an In-N-Out guy that he likes watching his wife sleep with other men and asking them if they'd be interested in that. As an employee, he enlisted the help of another person to pretend that a cockroach was in their food in front of customers, and kept talking about how they have this horrible cockroach problem this week, and then they did the same thing with a condom the following week. He's doing all this shit thinking that it's clever and funny, and he's been banned from their restaurants, and they told him to take down his videos, and he's not taking down his videos. So now they are suing him, and I love that.
Fair enough. Sue him. That's almost industrial espionage. Honestly, why only In and Out? I mean, if he was going to get dressed up as Colonel Sanders and go and take a McShit at McDonald's or something, like, why not go to all of the different, why not do it to all of the brands? Why only In and Out? He should have diversified his harassment. Because he's going to be in big trouble because it looks really specific and malicious.
I think he just got fixated on that one thing because he's out here in California, and that's what he decided to do. And he's one of those dumb kids that thinks they're really clever and, ooh, look at how edgy I am. And, oh, I'm on YouTube and all my followers. And now that he's being sued, here's audio of his reaction. This will give you an idea of what Brian is and what they're dealing with.
I wouldn't say I'm worried about the lawsuit. Like, yeah, sure, it'll probably be annoying or whatever, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And then life goes on. And that's for everything, bro. That's a lesson for you guys. Life is going to throw so many obstacles at you. It's not the end of the world. You got to build the mental toughness to get through the obstacles and keep pushing forward. Do not let that slow you down at all.
Yeah, go, bro. You tell everybody, bro. I hate that kind of young, dumb thing. And honestly, if you said, is everybody that uses the word bro a total fucktard? I would probably say no, there's got to be a couple. But anytime somebody says bro or worse, even bruh, I just completely write them off as an asshole. You're an idiot that doesn't think things through because you can't use any other word other than bro. The bro is a good giveaway, in my opinion. That guy is just clueless going through life.
It just tells me he's a child.
I don't think most kids are that dumb, are they? Your kids are smarter than that, and they're younger than him.
They wouldn't dare be that disrespectful. I think they have too much respect just in general for people to do something like that.
I like a good joke and a good bit, but those things I described, those aren't good bits. That's just shitty because you're hurting a business that has done nothing to you and then hurting their employees. If they get closed down, those people are losing their job.
Exactly. It's absolutely outrageous. My guys are into some really weird shit at the moment. We are going through all of the back catalogue of sort of classic comedy. Last night we watched Zoolander.
Okay.
A few days ago we watched School of Rock, Dodgeball. So the boys are having an absolute field day. Like last night, they're walking around going, I could derelict my own balls. Thank you very much. It's like tween boy hilarity. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And so it's just good sort of summer fun. And one of the things my husband and I observed is that the PG-13 rating let a lot more stuff through 10 years ago than what it does now. There are some things in there that we were like, oh, I didn't realize this was as risque. But, you know, the boys just put blankets over their head or whatever. But it was really, really funny. We were watching School of Rock. And there is a part in that where Jack Black is handing out classic rock albums to kids to do their homework. And my eldest son is calling out the names of all the albums.
Nice.
And one of them, he goes, He goes, yes. And I go, what? He goes, yes, the band, yes. And I was like,
who's on first?
Okay. They are obsessed with the song Roundabout.
Oh, great song.
The band, yes. It's a great song.
Yeah.
It does go for more than 8 minutes, though.
Yeah.
And they make us listen to it from start to finish on repeat when we're driving around in the car. They love it. In
my opinion, that's the only Yes song that you really need to listen to. Roundabout is the one good Yes song. And I tell you what, if you want to really impress a girl and be out on a date in a roundabout and put Roundabout on as you're streaming, and that'll really do it. I can tell you that because I haven't done that within the last 3 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I wasn't like being all deep and serious about it. I was having fun with it, but still it was kind of a douchey moment.
That is pretty funny and weird. And all the doors were locked. I'm sure she wasn't frightened at all.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? Roundabout. And they're having conversations about, well, what's your favorite part of the song? Or what's your favorite part of the song? And just sort of it's interesting.
Did you impart on your child that thing I sent you in text the other day? Because I feel like it's really important. Did you let them know that Rocks is the best Aerosmith album? It's really not even open for debate.
I haven't yet, actually.
You
No,
might
I
wanna
haven't.
pass it on.
I have not, but I will. I will pass that on to them. We were talking about classic albums yesterday. The youngest got his first filling, and as a part of that process, I recommended that he put in noise-cancelling headphones and listen to some music so that while they're drilling away, he can sort of calm down. And he actually listened to Roundabout on repeat for 38 minutes while it was all happening.
And as long as that song is, that was like 4 listening, so.
He was like, yeah, so four times around the roundabout. But he was very happy with that. And so that is actually a red hot tip. I don't know if you have any sensory issues or anything. Like next time you need to get dental work done, if you have any, what are they? Apple iPods or whatever?
AirPods, I guess, yeah.
AirPods, AirBuds, whatever they are. They have a noise cancelling feature or whatever. It makes such a huge difference to the experience of getting fillings or stuff done. It's so much better than just fucking raw dogging it like nothing in your ears. It's terrible.
I have a pair of AirPods. I don't have the noise canceling ones because as sensitive as my hearing is, I've heard that in order to cancel out the noise, they create a noise in the headphones themselves that is really low, and that's part of the canceling. That might be a thing that would get in my head and bother me like so many things.
You can't hear that. That's just the technology
of
how it works inside of it.
Maybe Apple's made it better. That could be.
The new ones are really good. The new ones. I don't have the old ones. Or otherwise, you can put the little ones inside your ear and then wear noise-cancelling headphones over the top or, like just industrial boop-boops over them. Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah.
You can get those at Amazon, industrial boop-boops.
Yeah.
I mean, on sale this week, in fact.
You can get everything there. It's nearly Prime Week.
Yeah. Big boop-boop sale at Prime. You know about that.
Yeah, well, Bezos is going to pay for his Venetian wedding somehow.
Take your rocket ship and your honeymoon and do all that shit, idiot.
Fucking cockhead.
Ugh. Anyway.
No.
When people in the media fuck up, this is another thing where other people's fuck up and we can have fun with it. You sent me this first one like 2 weeks ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's very fun. And then I found a whole bunch of other ones. So this is prominent people that say stupid shit, and we've all said stupid shit, but some of these are pretty great. So here's the first one. Marjorie Taylor Greene, it must have been lunchtime there.
Not only do we have the D.C. jail, which is the D.C. gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress.
Yes, she said gazpacho.
There you go. She meant Gestapo. I would have known Gestapo. I said Gestapo earlier. Marjorie doesn't quite grab onto words, and she said gazpacho. Damn it.
She loves that cold tomato soup.
There you go. Do you think she and I would get along?
Generally speaking, all signs point to no.
No? But do you think, and I say this because I think she's a very needy person. I think she needs attention. And if I have that knowledge in my head, do you think I could woo her and get her to like me and placate to that? Okay. Maybe I would try sometime. Let's get her on the show. But then the other day I agreed with her. She criticized the war. So I was like, how the hell did that happen?
I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say. So, ding dong.
You are correct on that. Then here's another politician. This is Wisconsin Representative Glenn Grothman trying to sound smart.
And it's because you have this monolithic left wing that is got almost all, in some disciplines, of the teaching jobs. And and to me, this anti-Semitism is increasingly part of the left-wing Zegist that's everywhere.
It's those ideals in the Zegist that are so prominently in our society.
The Zegist, the Canadian Zegist? Or
I think they are Canadian Zegists, yeah.
Oh, my God. They're danger ducks.
Do you know who Shia LaBeouf is?
I do.
Okay, he's an actor. Did a movie with Michael Douglas. He was on a big press tour. And during that press tour, time after time after time, he was talking about what a great guy Michael Douglas was and described him in this way.
Michael is the epitome of strength, and he's stoic.
Epitome.
Wow.
You want to be the epitome of something, don't you? The epitome, not the epitome. You just want to be the epitome.
So this is a tricky one, okay? Because I think that if you like completely fuck something up because you're a numbskull is one thing, right? AKA Taylor Green. However, I think that sometimes there is a lot of people out there who they learn a word because they read it and they've never heard it pronounced. And I think that this...
And that happened to him just before he went on this press tour, obviously.
I think that either A, somebody wrote this for him and he's read it, epitome, wicka wicka, okay? And he's maybe that happened to him, so I kind of want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a bit of a wacko anyway, and every time I hear his name, it's Shia the Beef, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I could see him going into an In-N-Out and screwing around like that one guy did. I could see him being that guy. And really what that example is it is the epitome of a bad press agent who would let him go on and on and on, sounding like an idiot. Yeah.
Like the one time's too much, you'd pull him aside and go, hey, the Beef, just so you know,
the Beef.
It's epitome. Friend.
Yeah.
But I could also see that he's maybe such a fuckwit that no one wants to help him. I have definitely been in a situation in my life before where I've had the opportunity to help somebody who's like that and who has been saying something incorrectly and everyone's sort of giggling at them. And then when I've gone to do it, they've been so rude to me, I've just sort of walked it back.
Yeah, just let them cook.
Just fucking epitome away, motherfucker. Like, whatever. You can look like a sausage. Because feedback is a gift. Withdraw my gifts from you. Epitome. What else you got?
This one, pretty famous, John Travolta at the Oscars one year. Let me pull this up.
Here to perform the Oscar-nominated, gorgeously empowering song, Let It Go, from the Oscar-winning animated movie Frozen, please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem, he was introducing Idina Menzel. And also, just so you know, she was...
Wickedly talented,
Idina Menzel, but also Adele Dazeem is what he said.
Well, and for the uninitiated, she's a massive Broadway actress. Starred in Wicked, original Elphaba on Broadway for many seasons. Went away, came back.
And that was the big topic of morning shows the morning after that one. And then they had a follow-up where there was, I think, another award show, and she had the opportunity to introduce him, and then he came on the stage. So here is that.
Please welcome to the stage my very dear friend, Glom Gazingo.
And then he walks up on stage.
I deserve that, but you, my darling, my beautiful, my wickedly talented Idina Menzel.
You got it!
Is that right?
He's coming off as really creepy to me. And he's squeezing her cheek while he's doing that. And he's like, my wickedy, yuck, what are you doing?
The wrong thing, evidently. Yeah.
So then I mentioned Tim Apple a couple minutes ago, Tim Cook. I've called him Tim Apple just because it's funny. I didn't realize that it actually came from somewhere. Donald Trump. This was not the most recent inauguration thing, but this is at a dinner, and him and Tim Cook are sitting right next to each other. And this, Trump has many, but this was one of his best. And if you could only see the faces of the people as he said this, here you go.
We have so many companies coming in, people like Tim, you're expanding all over and doing things that I really wanted you to do right from the beginning. I used to say, Tim, you got to start doing it over here, and you really have. I mean, you've really put a big investment in our country. We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple, but we're opening it up.
Way to go, Tim Apple. And he didn't even know that he said that. And that was years ago. That was way before he was as fucked up as he is now, so we got that going.
He could be. This may be silly. I don't usually defend the president, and I'm not doing that at all. But recently I had to edit together a video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I put so much effort into teleprompter and everything. I was like, you know what? Even a Kiwi couldn't fuck this up. Alas, here we go. The talent, all they had to do was read the fucking teleprompter. Okay? I wasn't in the studio for the filming, but I got back all of these different takes, and I imagine that it said Tim Cook from Apple, and he's just read Tim Apple, because the number of times that happens when you give someone a teleprompter, I cannot even tell you. And then we have to either reshoot, or in my instance, we've got to like gloss over it and string together all of the other takes behind it. Thank God that they read it multiple times. But you think that people can read a teleprompter. They cannot. They just miss whole sentences, and you end up with Tim Apple.
And did somebody hear that during the event and not catch it or not point it out? Or
well, watch me get angry, because there were a whole room of people there, not me, who had the script. Not a single one of those people realized that he hadn't read things word for word. So we didn't get it until 2 days later. And so we had to just cut the shit together, because then the guy's not available to reshoot. We've lost our studio time. It's done. By the way, he wasn't even the original talent. The original talent pulled out day of. So we've gone out and fucking shepherd's crooked some other person out of a hallway somewhere, who also, by the way, is terrible. Looks like a ransom video. This is supposed to be some fine, upbeat, yay, but, and the guy looks like he's reading for Al-Qaeda. And the blah, 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 thank you, Tim Apple. Ridiculous. The worst experience ever.
And you have to think about that and think, okay, either one, nobody was paying attention, or two, maybe somebody heard it but didn't have the wherewithal to step up and say, hey, this was screwed up. They didn't want to seem like the person that was screwing it up. So it's either of those two things, I think.
And neither one of them is good.
Right.
And this is why I'm a sour old bitch. Because on one hand, people just don't pay attention and have almost zero attention to detail. They're just there latteing their hardest rather than focusing on what's happening. You should be watching it. You should be watching their movements. You should be listening to it. You should be making sure that everything is great. You shouldn't be just waiting until it gets into the editing suite to realize, oh, actually, that's really flat and that's terrible. Like, no one gave him any direction. It was ridiculous. So we hired a studio for this, and they really shit the bed on it. Or his handlers are such sycophants that they've not given him any direction either. And ultimately, he's the one who ends up looking like a prawn, because those people are supposed to make him look good, and they didn't do that. That's their number one job. It doesn't matter if you have to be uncomfortable. Your job's to make that guy look good. Fail.
None of them
ridiculous.
had the balls to step up and do what was right for fear of retribution and whatever. And
yeah, none of them had the nuts for it, and it's just so disappointing.
All right.
Embarrassing, really.
Got another one here. This is Pride Month. This is from the other day, actually. This came up, and I was looking for all of these. And there's a Major League Baseball team, I think, and they have a special gift. It's Disability Pride Night at the game. So here you go.
And there's your first out. Disability Pride Night is Thursday, July 10th, and with a theme ticket, fans take home a Cardinals cap featuring the Disability Pride flag and Cardinals in brave.
So that happened. And then, this is a podcast, we can do whatever we want. That happened, and watch how much silence is here. And think about the silence and so many producers and headsets and people scrambling and freaking out and losing their mind. And let's see how much time there is left just not talking and stuff going on behind the scenes.
Details at cardinals.com/theme.
Here we go. Oh, geez. What did he just do? Holy shit. I can't believe he just said that. Get Johnny on the phone. Where's Johnny? Fuck, did you hear that? Do we do an apology? I don't know.
Here's the good news.
Oh, hey, they're not done. Hang on. Just wait for it. Be in the moment. Theater of the mind.
Need that one.
There you
Top
go.
of the zone not open either.
And, like 21, 22 seconds or something right there. Yeah. So you were going to say?
It's disability pride. It's got nothing. That's got nothing to do with LGBTQI or TI pride.
And I think he hears the word pride, and that's the Freudian way his brain went. And it's a judgment, but I think he's probably used that word before. That's my guess anyway. I can't speak for him, nor would I want to.
I come from a time where we used to call cigarettes fags. So,
Well, in other countries, sure. Go back to the flat and take the lift and have a fag.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Suck on a fag has a whole different meaning in the 70s.
Depending on the situation.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
You're right.
But you used to sell them to kids too. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get things twisted. That wasn't the whole story.
Twisted on this show? How?
Okay, so have you seen the candy? They're called fads, and they're just white musk sticks. They used to be called fags, and they were fake cigarettes.
Well, we used to have candy cigarettes in this country too, and then they outlawed them because they said it was conditioning kids to smoke. So,
did you know you can still buy them? We still buy them for our kids. One of our kids is hella
she said
into
with a
them.
great big smile, like you're getting away with something.
Yeah, you can get them, and when you like blow through them, powdered sugar comes out.
And you can use it to glaze donuts.
You could use it to glaze donuts. You can use it to simulate cigarette smoke. It's kind of funny, right? But they are slightly different because those ones we are talking about, they look like actual cigarettes and they come in a packet that looks like that. These ones were sort of cheap and nasty, and they were musk flavored. They were white and just a plain white little candy stick, almost like chalk sticks, but really skinny, and with red candy dye on the end.
Right.
And they were called fags, and they were fake cigarettes for kids.
That's exactly what we had. And soon, well, it's a different country, but I was going to say soon you won't be able to get them because RFK has outlawed the red dye part, but that doesn't apply over there, I guess.
Yeah, those dyes have been cancelled in most other countries for years. Like Fruit Loops and stuff here is made with completely different dyes to what they are in other countries. Yeah, all of those dyes that he's finally getting on the wagon about, they've been banned in other countries for a really long time.
Yeah. I have said it before. I think he's an absolute total lunatic and wrong about nearly everything, but that doesn't mean he can't be right sometimes. And I think he's right about that stuff. And yeah, stuff from other countries to our country is completely different. And yeah, there's the fags cigarette pack that you're showing me.
From 1989.
You should get some of those and
fags.
import them and give them out at the next PTA meeting to the kids. There you
Good,
go.
right?
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Very cultured.
Very cultured.
So here's the last one of these. This is my favorite. I saved my favorite for the last just because of the Beavis and Butthead absurdity to it. Ooh. Here is Academy Award President Cheryl Boone announcing nominees of Academy Awards one year.
For achievement in cinematography, the nominees are Emmanuel Lubezki for Birdman or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Now, keep in mind, that was kind of a hard word, Lubezki, and she's got all kinds of things going on there.
Robert Yeoman for the Grand Budapest Hotel.
She's got Budapest in there. Mm-hmm. Budapest handled that well.
Lukasz Yal and...
Lukasz Yal cranked it right out.
Richard Lenshowski for Ida.
But now...
Dick Pope for Mr. Turner.
Dick Poop.
Would you like that again? Oh, sure.
Dick Poop.
Yep.
Oh, God. Yeah. Went through all of those and got to Dick Pope and did Dick Poop, and that's totally different and fun and weird. So
that is something else. Dick Poop. She is really a teenage boy in disguise.
And if you listen really close, you can hear somebody chuckle in the background, and that completely
I heard that the first
off.
time.
So.
Dick Poop.
All right. I'm going to just now go on with my day and just play that about every 2 to 3 minutes, and that'll be good.
Dick poop.
There's a show. You've been wonderful. Your gardeners haven't been wonderful, but that's not your fault.
Yeah, they're not even my gardeners.
Mm. What is that? You're showing me something on screen that looks like turtle fingers?
Panic turtle. They're these cute little turtles you put on your fingers, and they look like they're screaming. I just found it. It was right next to the fags.
And I wonder if maybe that's a therapy thing, like your kids can put it on and have the turtle talk, and the turtle is talking about how stressed they're feeling, and maybe they use that with kids in therapy. That could be.
Maybe they do. The turtle has a big open mouth, so maybe the turtle can smoke those fake cigarettes I'm getting for the kids.
Oh, we need to try this out. We need to see how it goes.
We need to see how it goes. I have to practice with my kids things they can and can't say when around other people. Now that we're watching all of these movies, I can't take them out with other families and have them saying to them, "Hey, Derek, can derelict my balls," and have the other one go, "Hansel, I can derelict my own balls. Thank you very much." Like, I can't have them performing that skit.
And also, when you watched it with them, you were laughing your ass off because you have emphasized that, yes, this is funny. So,
it's hilarious. We're laughing our heads off. We think it's absolutely hilarious. I forget that there's a whole part in dodgeball. It's actually quite risque when they go to the championships and they get the wrong uniforms at first, and they get delivered an entire box of S&M leathers.
I do kind of remember.
They go
that,
out.
yeah.
No, the American Dodgeball Association rules state that we must wear matching uniforms, and they all go out there in like full leathers, and one has a gimp mask on. And like, shit! I'm sitting there with my husband, going, "Yeah, I didn't remember this bit."
And also, when we were talking about it earlier, you were saying that they got away with a lot more for PG-13s back in the day. That's true. I also think if you go back to ours in the 70s, I think it took very little to get an R rating in the 70s because I think Jaws was an R, and there was not a lot in Jaws that would make it an R. There was like some bubbling red water and that kind of thing. And I think there was a silhouette maybe of nudity, but not full-on nudity. And I don't think that today would get an R. That was a really light R in my remembrance.
I'll have to go back and have a look at it, but I see what you mean. I think sensibilities have really changed, which is ironic as well. I think that people have become so sensitive, and maybe it's also being here in the South. Some people consider the word crap and hell swear words here. Yeah. And so our children can't use those in public.
Because, then they would be the outcasts and people would go, oh, and
Exactly.
All right, well, show done.
Pew!
Everybody have a great week.
Intend your puns, weaklings.
Ooh.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.
I have never been able to fully understand how it is that someone like Donald Trump is able to acquire this level of power. I always struggle to understand how his hate speech can take root in a country whose nature has always been a welcoming one. Today, many people are feeling persecuted. Far too many people live in fear. Fear of taking their kids to school or going to places where they earn an honest living. These people, they're your neighbors, your friends, immigrants. This is very unfair, and let me tell you why. The multiple times that this country has had to rebuild itself, immigrants were always there to pick up the slack. Earlier this year, when LA burned, immigrant workers risked their lives to stop the flames. They are the ones who build this country. They feed it. They nurture and teach its children. They care for the elderly. They work in construction, hospitality. They run kitchens. They're technicians, merchants, athletes, drivers, farmers. They pay a lot of taxes, a lot of them, with their jobs. Yeah. Papers or no papers. In 2022, undocumented immigrants contributed around $96.7 billion worth of taxes. But that is something that the Trump administration doesn't want you to know. There are a lot of lies flying around about immigrants, but I'm sure you have more than one story that can attest to the contrary. Talk about it, share it. That helps. Today, they need to know that they're not alone. These have been a dark few weeks. It is not acceptable, nor it's normal, to separate families. Violence and terror are not okay. Immigrants need to know that their struggle is yours as well. Politicians have been dosing on this problem because it's easier than acknowledging it. Because this country benefits from the work of immigrants, but refuses to recognize their importance. That is what needs to change. It's about acknowledging the work of millions and how unfair it is that they have to live in hiding. The only solution is clear now, and it's been clear for decades. Give them a path to legal certainty. This is what your neighbors really deserve, to be fully welcome in this country where they already belong. To every citizen watching this, I encourage you to call your representatives. Tell them what you think. This is the number for Congress. It only takes a minute. And if you want to support those affected or who may need assistance, there are some great organizations that are doing exactly that, like Public Counsel and Kids in Need of Defense. I urge you to learn more about these organizations. Thank you for listening. I hope what I said inspires you to get involved or look at this from a different point of view.